On today's show, the Dallas Mavericks get a win against the Golden State Warriors without Luka Doncic. How did Kyrie lead the way, and how did PJ Washington take a step forward? We'll talk about all that and more in today's Locked On Mavs.
Doncic, and this is Locked On Mavericks podcast.
Mavericks, NBA champions. Bang! It's good, and the Mavericks have won the game.
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
Loyalty never fades away.
And welcome. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member and NBA channel manager for the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Thanks for being part of the show and making Locked On Mavs your first listen every day, where the best way you can help us grow the show is to let it ride. That's right. Letting it ride again without Luka Doncic. Oh, my gosh. Insane. Listen on any podcast platform every day, 5 days a week, 7 days a week, mostly right now. And let me know in the comment section what's one thing that stood out in the Mavs win over the Warriors tonight. And joining me, as always, on a post-game, what you got for me, Slightly Biased?
Oh, what a game. And no, I'm not talking about Iowa, UConn.
We watched that one, too. That they just played that in the arena. It was pretty cool. Got to see the end of that one. But, man, the Mavs making me feel things.
I mean, this is a big one tonight because the PTSD is always in the back of your brain. And it's like,
it was.
Everyone's talking like, yeah, with the playoffs against the Clippers. I'm like, like in the back of my brain, there's a voice that's like, they're still going to make the play-in tournament. And I just can't get rid of it. But tonight, you feel pretty safe.
I had a friend text me who is not a Mavs fan, but just an NBA fan. And he was like, oh, you're going to go nuts after this game, aren't you? And I was like, there was like 4 minutes left. And I was like, yeah, if they win. I think they were up by 9 at that point. And I was like, yeah, if they win the game. He goes, you don't think they're going to win this game? And I was like, I've been through too much. I've been hurt before.
Against Steph, all it takes is 2 threes, and then a 9-point lead is a 3-point lead.
He had the opportunities too, for sure, in this game at the end there. So on today's episode, we'll get into how the Mavs won this game. We'll talk about the PJ Washington experience. What an amazing game. Shout out to the listener. I think your name was Matt. I could be completely wrong on that. Redheaded guy came up to me before the game and was like, I'm calling it. PJ Washington, huge offensive game tonight. It's not going to be Tim. Oh. It's not going to be Hardy. It's going to be PJ Washington. And I was like, okay, I'm with you. I would love that. And that's exactly what happened. PJ Washington had a huge offensive game. We'll talk about him. But the Mavs, I said yesterday, the whole point of my show yesterday after the win against the Hawks was the Mavs found another way to win. And slightly, they found another way to win in this one when Luka Doncic was listed as doubtful right before the game, and then he didn't play in this one. Kyrie had to lead him. He played 42 minutes in this game after a back-to-back. I mean, just an outstanding effort from Kyrie in Ramadan too. Yeah. And they found another way to win a game.
It felt actually kind of similar to last night's game in some ways to me. Even obviously there's no Luka, but the fourth quarter where the offense is just really not clicking and you're turning the ball over a bunch and you're missing good looks, but you just grind it out. I mean, grind it out defensively. Yeah. The Warriors in the half court scored 74 points per 100 possessions. That's in the third percentile. That's like one of the worst offensive half court performances any team has had in the NBA this season. So the Mavericks just defensively did, I thought, a phenomenal job tonight. I mean, that's the main takeaway. PJ Washington's incredible game too, but the defense again. Was it you who tweeted out that they've been the best defense in the league over the last X amount of days?
I mean, they very well could be because
someone did it. I'm crediting it to you.
Credit me. Go ahead. It wasn't me, but that's okay. But PJ Washington gets a lot of credit for the defense too because him and Derrick Jones Jr. and Gafford, the three of them together, plus you throw in an Exum, and man, that foursome is just lethal defensively. It is really hard to score on them. It's hard to drive. It's hard to get to your spots. And, that's the thing I think that they've been really good at is they've not allowed guys to just, get to the spot that they want on the floor. Guys have certain places. All right, I want to get here. I want to go here. And the Mavs are just like, let me lead you somewhere else that's completely not what you want to do and where you want to go. And they've been doing that. And so shout out to PJ Washington and Derrick Jones Jr. on the wings. Gafford being in the middle, playing 31 minutes. Talked about that yesterday. Will Gafford play? He only played 22 last night, but he played 31 tonight with Luka and Maxey out as well. And they didn't really want to go to Powell in the second half, and I don't blame them for not doing that.
Yeah.
But yeah, shout out to Gafford being awesome defensively too.
I mean, that trio that you mentioned, Derrick Jones Jr., Gafford, PJ, but this isn't even including tonight's game, but 220 minutes plus 23 net rating with a 98 defensive rating. Like that's lockdown stuff. And then that's what's exciting is the playoffs come around and the Mavs can tinker with that too. They can have, if Kyrie's off, you can keep those three on the floor or Luka's off, one of the two, and put Exum in, who's another great defender. And now you have like a legit almost death lineup defensively where it's very difficult to, like you said, get to where you want to go because they'll close off driving lanes. They'll run you off the three-point line. They did a great job of that tonight, specifically Derrick Jones Jr.
Yes.
You know, Steph hit some crazy shots in the fourth quarter. That shot he hit to tie it was, I mean, just I thought, or to make it a 1-point game, whatever it was, with 50 seconds left, was I thought a blatant moving screen, but whatever.
Well, if they were going to call moving screens in this game, that would have been a completely different game, I think. But yeah, Steph 5 of 14 from 3. They made it tough for him. They made it difficult. And, man, just such tough plays down the stretch, too. I mean, you go to that fourth quarter. Mavs, well, we start. The Mavs came out of the gate swinging. I mean, they had some energy. I was nervous about where this Mavericks team would be at the start of this game with the Atlanta Hawks game last night. They just basically gave up with like 2 minutes to go in that game. It felt like both teams were just gassed. And then tonight's second night of back-to-back, but it was second night of back-to-back for the Warriors too, and they traveled from Houston. But the Mavs come out of the gate, and they go up 29-13. You're feeling pretty good about it. Like, all right, they hit him in the face. And then the Warriors came back. The Warriors ended up with a lead at the end of the first quarter.
Yeah, that was crazy.
As soon as Kyrie went out, basically, or even before Kyrie went out, the Warriors went on that run. But we saw something in the second quarter we'd never seen before. PJ Washington at the 5, and they ran it a bunch to close the game.
Yeah, they did. It was one of those things, too. Like, I didn't even notice it at first, and I was looking on the floor. I was like, wait a second. They're going very small here with PJ Washington. And this is the type of matchup, because the Warriors go, especially with no Wiggins and Kuminga tonight, I mean, they're out there basically running a bunch of 6'5", 6'6", and under guys. And then so that makes sense to deploy a PJ Washington small ball 5 lineup tonight. I'm interested in seeing the numbers on that one.
Yeah, we've never seen him at the 5 before. I mean, it's always been with Maxey, and that's been their small lineup, though we've called their small lineup, but it really hasn't been all that small with Maxey there. And so when you take Maxey out of it, it just becomes an actual small ball lineup. And Kyrie had also an insane dish to Gafford under the rim right before halftime, and the Mavericks go into halftime. You're like, all right, they fought back, they hit the Warriors in the face, and then the Warriors came back, and now the Mavs are doing great. But to me, it was like they felt like they were living and dying by the 3 again in the first half. You were like, man, they're hitting a bunch of threes, and that's kind of their only offense, and that's how they're getting things going. PJ was 4 of 5 at halftime from 3. Kyrie only had 12 points. You're like, okay, well, where else is this going to go? And the rebounding battle at halftime was massive too. The Warriors were up 26-18, and the Warriors, they play small, but they're a really good rebounding team. And the Mavs really turned that around in the second half too. Yeah,
a lot of that was Daniel Gafford. Insane energy. I was saying this, like, when you're missing your best player in games like this, especially second night of a back-to-back too, you need energy guys. Like, you need those guys who, no matter the circumstance, are going to bring it and bring energy. Yeah. And even if the game slows down or there's like a slow pace, we'll get the crowd into it. And that's exactly what Daniel Gafford does. And yeah, the rebounding was much better for the Mavericks in the second half. I don't have the exact numbers ahead of me, but yeah, the Warriors, I think, are the best rebounding team in the league, which is a little bit shocking considering their that's what they kept saying on the broadcast.
23-18. So only 5, but like they won the rebounding battle in the second half, which is what they needed to do. And so, man, it was that was an area where they just needed to clean it up, and they did. And then, man, you come down to the last couple of minutes here, and Kyrie, I thought, was just massive in this game. Gave them buckets when they needed it, and just kind of like, I felt like he felt out this game, and like he had the pulse of this game. Okay, we need a bucket right here. All right, I'm going to give you a bucket. All right, we need this right here. We need a 3 right here. We need this. We need me to pull in the whole defense and kick out for a 3 right here. Like, it felt like he knew every single thing that the Mavericks needed in this game. Didn't put up gaudy numbers. 26 points, 7 assists, 8 rebounds. That's not gaudy numbers anymore, by the way. That's like a normal, for us, it's like a normal stat line.
Well,
9 of 19 from the field.
I mean, not gaudy numbers in the sense of with Luka out, the numbers that you would think you'd have to get from Kyrie to like win a game against a team like the Warriors. So I got where you're going. But yeah, no, he was really big.
1:43 left in the game. He goes one-on-one against Draymond, hits that jumper. The Mavs go up 6. That was a massive play. Curry hits that 3 with a minute left. The Mavs are only up 1 at that point, and then they go small again to end the game with a minute left. I thought that was a really, really interesting play, or a really, really interesting thing from Kidd. What did you think about them going small to end the game? They decided to not go with Gafford. They went with that small lineup that we hadn't even ever seen before. I was talking about it before the game. Are we finally going to see the PJ at 5? They closed with it.
Part of me wonders if they saw the Pelicans score and they were like, all right, let's mess around a little bit here. Let's see what happens. Because they were running the 4 guard. I mean, I was this close to tweeting out, and thankfully I deleted it. But I was like, this 4 guard lineup that they run, it feels like whenever they run it, it feels like they almost are okay with punting the game. Like anytime I see that on the floor in like a weird like back-to-back game or something, I'm like, it feels like they're almost okay with losing this in a weird way. As long as it means like limiting guys' minutes and stuff.
It's been proven Kidd is okay with losses. He said that he accepts them and almost expects losses in certain instances and like lets them lose games. I mean, I've talked about that several times on this show. But I thought that it was a play where, we feel good about this lineup. We feel good about the way that this lineup is playing, and this is actually our best tactical advantage to win this game because we're getting more movement and more spacing, and they needed that spacing too.
Well, that and the way the Warriors offensively were moving. You want like all those screens at the top, trying to free up Steph for threes, getting more mobility up at the top. Even though Gafford did a great job anytime he was brought up on those high screens from Draymond for Steph, I thought he did a great job. I think it was at the end of the third quarter or something. One of the end of the quarter plays, him and Derrick Jones Jr. did a masterful job. Draymond setting a screen, and Gafford played up on it, and Curry, airballed the shot or missed it badly, one of the two, but.
Coming up, let's talk about how the Mavs closed this game out. How did they get the win, and who made massive plays? PJ, Kyrie, and also, that's right, Tim Hardaway Jr. made massive plays. We'll talk about all those and more coming up. Today's episode is brought to you by Amazon Fire TV. If you want to get in on the action with sports, highlights, in-depth analysis, Fire TV offers amazing viewing experiences with smart TVs as well as the Amazon Fire Stick. You can plug it into your existing TV to make it a smart TV and give you millions of movies, TV episodes, as well as free and live TV. Whether it's opening weekend for baseball or college basketball tournament, you're going to want to have a Fire TV and the Fire TV channels that they've just started. Locked On is on those. Locked On Sports Today channel, Locked On Sports Dallas channel. You can watch all the Locked On Sports Dallas episodes and shows, all that kind of stuff. Check it out. Check out Fire TV channels and Fire TV and Alexa devices. If you haven't checked out Fire TV, you should. Trust us on this. To learn more, go to Amazon.com/LockedOnFireTV. Amazon.com/LockedOnFireTV. Today's episode is also brought to you by Nissan. You're the kind of driver that likes to take things a little bit further. Ever wonder what adventure could be around the corner? Our friends at Nissan have a lineup of SUVs with the capabilities to take your adventure to that next level. Check out the 2024 Nissan Rogue, perfect for those city drives or the great escapes. If you want to get out of town, go see the eclipse. You'll have to do it in your car because there are no places to stay here in Dallas if you want to go see the eclipse. Gone are the days of connecting your phone. The Google Assistant, Google Maps, and Google Play Store are built right into the 12.3-inch HD touchscreen infotainment system on the 2024 Nissan Rogue. It's the perfect midsize crossover for your next adventure. Also, check out the 2024 Nissan Pathfinder and Nissan Armada, and go find your next big adventure. Shop NissanUSA.com. Again, shop NissanUSA.com. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs, being part of the show, part of the Raccoon Squad, listening every day. We appreciate each and every one of you for jumping in, checking out the show. And we will be continuing to do episodes all the time throughout the postseason. I'll just do episodes until I die, basically. And that's what's going to happen. Slightly will be doing
more series worth.
Slightly will be doing shows on his channel until we die, too. Both we're locked in. The content will kill us at one point.
And that's assuming that there's going to be a neuro chip or something that gets planted in my brain and I live the next 200 to 350 years.
That's true. Death maybe is not an option.
Yeah.
At a certain point. I saw that the oldest man in the world, he was like 113, 112 or something. He just died recently.
I think I can make that push.
I was like,
I've been a lot healthier lately.
It reminded me of the Chris Traeger thing from Parks and Rec. People say that the first man to live to be 150 years has already been born. I believe I am that man.
No, that's not how it works. The oldest people in the world, they're always like, yeah, I smoke 5 packs of cigarettes a day.
Dude, they're always like, I drink a Dr. Pepper every single day. And you're like, what are you talking about?
One Dr. Pepper? We're getting old, dude.
The oldest woman in like America, I think she drinks like 3 a day. She's like, I have one with every meal, Dr. Pepper. I was like, okay.
We're getting old that we have to
Whatever
monitor how many Dr. Peppers we drink.
Curry makes a shot with a minute left. Mavs are only up by 1 at that point. They go with the small lineup. I thought that was really interesting. Derrick Jones Jr. misses a 3. Then Curry misses a 3. And here's where Tim Hardaway Jr. had a huge play. That rebound that he got under the basket was massive in that moment. Huge rebound. I mean, he is almost perpendicular, like parallel with the ground when he grabs this rebound. Like his head is going sideways at that point. Huge, massive rebound. And then you go the other end, and P.J. Washington has the charge call, or the blocking call against Curry. Golden State Warriors challenge it, and the heel was just over the back of the line, and it was an unsuccessful challenge. Dallas went in the bonus. PJ hit a free throw. The Mavs go up by 2 at that point. What a massive, massive turnaround, and just a huge play from Tim and PJ there.
That was a shocking take by PJ, I thought. I mean, there was like a 3-second difference between game clock and shot clock, but if that didn't work out, or that was an offensive foul, that they don't call a foul and it's just a missed shot, that we're looking at that like what just happened.
If that doesn't go right, that's when we start on this podcast and go, so here's the thing. PJ Washington has never been in a playoff game, and this is when you start to see it. And this is when like we would start going off about him. Instead, we're going to be like, what a savvy move by a guy that wants to be there. He wants to be there for the he wants to rise to the moment. Like,
hey, it's a results-driven league, baby.
Hey, you make or you miss.
That's right.
So PJ makes the free throw. Mavs go up 2. Curry hits a jumper because of course he does. Just a real tough like fall away jumper. Derrick Jones Jr. was trying his best, and man, Derrick Jones Jr. did a masterful job around screens. And just like, I think to me, his ability to go around screens is maybe the best thing that he does in the NBA. And he almost does it like, it's almost like he's dancing when he does it because his hip goes so far out, because that's what players do. Draymond comes up and sets that screen, and then his hip kind of juts out a little bit. And so you have to like jut your hip out then to go around the screen. And Jones Jr. does such a great job going around those.
Well, he's kind of got the perfect body for it, because you got to like make yourself as small as possible getting over those screens. And he does. I mean, it really is great. And it's just, he's so quick and athletic and lengthy that even because you're naturally just going to lose 1 or 2 steps trying to fight over a screen, that he recovers so quickly, and that it just feels like a screen was not even set at all. He blocked the Steph Curry 3 in this game. Like, Steph had some really good shots in this game at the end, but
he blocked him on that play where Curry like threw him to the ground, and they didn't even call anything. They just like, all right, hard foul, move on.
Yeah, I mean, the officiating in this game was all over the place. I think I saw Warriors fans were mad at it too, but whatever.
Well,
the Mavs win, so we don't have to talk about it at all. But no, Derrick Jones Jr. did a phenomenal job. Like, if you might look at how many points Steph scored in the fourth or something and think that they got cooked, there were some tough shots there, man.
This was one of them. Like, we're giving Derrick Jones Jr. all the credit in the world. Curry made the shot, tied the game at 106-106, and so then get to the last play of the game. Kyrie doubled on the right side, doesn't stay where he is, comes around, throws it over to Tim, and my heart, my heart dropped in my chest. You know how when they say the Grinch heart grew 3 times that day? Mine shrunk like 3 sizes when I saw Tim get the ball on the left wing. And he drove, and I was like, oh, no. This is going off the backboard, and it is going to a Warrior, like, automatically. And he did it. He proved me wrong, and he threw a dish to PJ, and PJ took the little patient, like, hop step and then hit the bucket for the score, and that ended up being the game winner. And I got to give Tim Hardaway Jr. credit, because that assist was amazing. Like, just the perfect play when you needed it.
I was scared too, because I was like, man, if Tim messes this up, I'm worried about his exit from the stadium. Like, that's just the mood the fan base has around him, surrounding him at times. Like, I'm worried about. But no, that was guards. That was a great cut by PJ too. I mean, everything just and I like that they didn't settle for some terrible shot with 0 seconds left. They
some kind of step back 3.
Yeah, they went 4 seconds left. We'll take this and we'll play defense. Like, we don't care. We feel confident enough in our defensive, what we got going on defensively. And then they clamped up in that final 4 seconds. That they did a great job doubling Steph. Steph had no room at all to get anything off. And then Klay Thompson, he makes that 3, whatever. It's a really tough shot with a great closeout by Derrick Jones Jr.
Yeah.
So,
great job. And the Warriors didn't get the first player, that got the ball like a clean look. The second player that got the ball a clean look, and it had to go to Clay in the corner, and it was like a grenade at that point. And so he just had to catch it and shoot. And like he got the shot off. Like give credit to Clay. He had some really tough shots in this game too. Just some classic like Clay shots.
Chris Paul too. I was feeling really sick to my stomach early on in this one.
It felt like they hit so many shots, and they both hit 10 combined. That was it.
Yeah, I know.
Clay went
but it's
7
just
of 17. Chris Paul went 3 of 7. And it just felt like every shot they hit, you're like, oh my God, here they go.
Yeah, exactly that. It's because like where they're at in their careers right now, it's like, are we really gonna have a huge Clay game or a huge Chris Paul game at this point in the season ruin things for us?
At this point in their lives.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man. But I mean, you give credit. I mean, so much credit needs to go around. We talked about Kyrie. Let's talk about PJ Washington. Let's just talk about his game in general because he hit 5 threes in this game, 32 points. He led the Mavs in scoring, 5 threes. But then that means he also made 7 other field goals too, where he was he hit the game winner eventually. A couple other floaters. Like he just was locked in, and it felt like he went to another level. 5 steals, 2 blocks, 3 assists for him too. Like this was the PJ game where when they traded for him, and I was a big proponent of the Mavs trading for PJ Washington. I was like, go get him. Like 2 weeks before the trade deadline, I was like, just do it. Just go get him. He's available. The Hornets are messing this up, and you need to go get him for cheap. And he cost a little bit more than I thought he was going to cost, but they get him. And I thought like every 5th game or so, he would have a game like this where he would just stand out. Maybe not 32 points, but he would have a really, really productive game. And he hasn't really had such productive games, but his shooting has completely turned around the last 7 games or so. And if he's shooting like this, man, he's the perfect like third type guy, or at least the perfect 3-and-D type guy that the Mavericks have really, really needed that could do a little extra.
Especially too when he shoots 3, it doesn't necessarily have to be sit in the corner and catch and shoot, a Claymore 3.
Well, they don't want him. They don't want him in the corner.
True, they don't want him in the corner. He's been heating up though from there. I give him some props. He's been working.
That's right.
But he can pull up in transition. Like he can shoot off the dribble, and then he can do things off the dribble where he takes the ball. They feel really comfortable him getting the ball in the middle of the floor. They really like that, and him floating or passing out or whatever. And if he is consistent offensively, he's one of the best role players in the league. Like he just is. That's where he's at. Can we talk a little bit more about Kyrie though, real quick?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Because every now and then people will get mad that we don't spend too much time on Kyrie or Luka. The reality is we expect so many great things from those guys that it is like almost when it happens, it's like, they did great things again. So it is almost like we're a little, we don't appreciate it too much, but that's not the way we want it to come across. No, I thought that double team, he played almost like a Luka game at the end where he knew he was getting doubled. And then his mission was, all right, how is the best way I can set everybody else up? How long do I have to hold the pass here for everyone to move? What I dribble around this double team. Where do I need to get to find Tim Hardaway Jr. so he has an open lane? Like he did a great job handling double teams down the stretch. And they were throwing everything at him at the end of the game.
Yeah. Everything was thrown at him, and he, like I said earlier, he just knew exactly what the Mavs needed at any given moment to go get a bucket. So with that, he had the 1v1 against Draymond to hit the jumper. The Mavs go up 6. Like if he doesn't hit, the Mavs just needed buckets a couple times. There was the one at 6 minutes 15 where he hits the pull up 3. You just felt a drought coming. The Mavs had a couple times this game where there was a drought offensively, and you're like, oh, okay. And they needed just some kind of offensive jolt. And that 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter, he hits a pull up 3 where he just goes, all right, nothing else is going to happen. I'm just going to take this shot right here. No one's expecting me to take it right now, but I'm going to take it. And 20 years ago, I would be pulled from the floor because I take this shot because everyone would be mad at me for taking this pull-up 3. And but he takes it and he hits it, and the Mavs go up 8 at that point. Just huge. Oh, and then right after that play, he hits that 3. Mavs go up 8, and then he gets the defensive rebound and fouled and hits 2 free throws on the other, and Mavs go up 10 with just about 6 minutes left. Huge sequence right there.
Those transition pull-up 3s, man. I'm telling you, those are jolts of energy. Because there's just nothing you can do to stop those. So they are the ultimate drought buster.
They really are, and he used them completely for it. Man, massive. Daniel Gafford, huge in this game, I thought too. 10 points, 15 rebounds, 5 assists.
Another 5-assist game.
3 blocks. His passing has been really great. Like they use him as the hub. Him and Lively. The Mavs have 2 really good passers as big men.
Yeah, that's the shocking part about Gafford. I think we looked this up on one of the past episodes because he had another 5-assist game. We were like, how many times has he done that? He only did it once in his career before coming to the Mavs. I think this was his third 5-assist game with the Mavericks. So
that sounds right.
Tapping into something new. Is this the most minutes he's played too?
Yeah, it's got 31's got to be close to the most minutes he's played.
Yeah, it is.
And Exum, got to give a lot of credit to Dante Exum. He played 33 minutes. They stretch his minutes out a little bit too. 11 points, 7 assists, only 2 turnovers for him. And he was aggressive. There's a couple of drives where you go, man, this is the Exum that we've kind of missed a little bit just to get to the rim and like finish and like get a bucket every once in a while.
It was nice too because I thought that he struggled a little bit in the last Warriors game. Just was a little too hesitant, and we want him doing things. And tonight he was really, really good. And it's just Exum, it doesn't feel like he's a guy who could just walk into the paint anytime he wants, but he just does. And it's just like he doesn't break down the defender really. He just dribbles into the paint, and then it leads to good things.
It's the Australian thing. Him, Giddey, like Joe Ingles, Ben Simmons, like they don't really have moves. They just kind of like go to the spot.
Well, Exum had that step back mid-range jumper at one point where I was like, whoa, ultimate green light Exum. How many points is that a game?
Oh, that was huge. Yeah. Massive in this game was the injuries. We talked about Luka being out, but Maxey was out as well. I think they're kind of precautionary for both those guys. They just played last night, so I don't think there was anything like super dire. But Lively out, Josh Green out. You're missing your star and 3 other role players. Like that. That's big. But then also, I think the injuries for the Warriors were massive for the Mavericks. I think without Kuminga and without Wiggins, who both killed them in the last game, like that was a massive like gift to Dallas, basically.
Yeah, agreed. I think the Mavericks, especially with no Luka, struggle if those two are on the court. But hey, that's where we're at every game of the season pretty much at this point. There's always going to be guys out, so don't really feel too bad.
Oh,
the Mavs were without Luka Doncic. Like they were without the best player on the planet.
This is not Locked On Warriors. I don't feel bad for them.
Yeah, I don't feel bad really at all either.
Can we talk about the standings, because it was almost I'm still looking at the Suns game.
They're gonna win. I've been watching it.
Okay, yeah, they're up 18 with 6 minutes left. But if the Suns had lost tonight, it would have been an absolutely perfect night for the Mavericks, basically.
Yeah.
The Pelicans inexplicably lose to the Spurs.
No Zion, to be fair.
But at home.
Yeah, not a good loss.
No, they lose, and so now the Mavs have the tiebreaker over them because the Pelicans lost a Western Conference game, and the Mavs have a better conference record than them, and will have a better conference record than them, and so that is huge. Mavs 2 games above the Pelicans with the tiebreaker. They have the tiebreaker against the Suns as well, even though they're going to win, but Mavs will be 1 game up on the Suns with the tiebreaker, which is essentially 2 games.
Right.
And then Sacramento loses to Boston, but almost doesn't, but then does lose to them.
That was a hilarious ending.
Now the Mavs are 3 games up on them, so that's huge.
And I'm just looking. They have the best division record out of any of these teams. They're going to win their division, and they have the best conference record. So any weird 3 or 4-way tie scenarios, I think the Mavericks come out on top in all of them, I'm pretty sure. I'm not entirely sure how they all work, but yeah, the Mavericks have the tiebreaker with all of these teams.
Yeah.
You feel pretty safe now. Like that's why tonight's win was so big, is now it's like, okay, knock on glass, a lot would have to happen.
Knock on glass? I don't have any glass.
Well,
I have a fake plastic cup. Is that glass?
Take your phone, knock on the screen of your phone.
I have glass on my I have a screen protector. I have a glass screen protector on my iPad.
That works.
Clippers are going to win against the Jazz, and so they'll be a game up on the Mavs. That one feels tough.
Yeah, the 4 seed's dead.
I don't think it's not completely dead.
I think it's dead. But also at the same time, like the real, I mean, obviously home court in a first round series would be incredible, but the real reason why every Mavs fan wants the 4 seed, and whether or not they admit it, is because it's better for Luka Doncic MVP propaganda. Like that is it.
I'm with him on that. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
He's not gonna win it. I saw on FanDuel he was plus 2,000 again the other day.
Yeah. It's that Tim Bontemps straw poll. Like that literally changes everything.
Ruined it. Luka got 1 first place vote. We didn't even really talk about it on the show because I've done my Luka MVP thing. I'm not really gonna spend more time on the show. Like I've done it. I did the segment, and I was like, all right, here's his case. Let's lay it out. He should be the MVP. He's not going to get it, but here we are.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah. So the Mavs we're feeling good in the standings right now. It's almost a perfect night for the Mavericks standings wise.
And that's, I mean, like you mentioned too, with the Pelicans losing, it used to be the Mavericks had to beat the Rockets on Sunday. Like that was an absolute must win to secure the tiebreaker against the Pelicans. But now it's all for naught. But of course you still want to win, but
yeah. Yeah. And so now Luka gets rest, and the Mavericks, they didn't like their standings didn't completely blow up. And so now maybe you've earned like a rest game at the end of the season or something like that. If it comes down to it. So
I was thinking if there's like some actual concern with Luka, and it wasn't just we have to get you a rest game, like we'll risk it tonight, but if there's actual something, maybe you go into the Rockets game on Sunday and say we're okay with another rest day for Luka.
Rockets aren't playing for anything anymore.
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like maybe they just say we're cool with resting Luka now until like we feel like we can't anymore. But I don't know how serious the injury is though.
You know who else isn't playing for anything?
Who?
Charlotte and Detroit. So consider them against either of those teams.
Hey man, Charlotte beat the Magic tonight, and they're playing for something.
That's true. And the Grant Williams revenge game will be insane.
Where's that game at?
It's at Charlotte.
I was gonna say the atmosphere could be electric, but let's just get serious. There might be 12 people there.
Hey, they show up. The Beehive or whatever, the Hive, they show up. Whatever the hell.
I want them to be good. I think they deserve a good team, but
yeah, they just aren't. Brandon Miller is really good though.
Yeah, he is.
So there you go. We'll be back with more episodes throughout. We'll be back on Sunday as well when the Mavericks play the Houston Rockets, and so we'll see what happens with that. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs.
Peace out.
Boom.
Boom.
Wow. You did the peace out and the boom. You did both?
Somebody told me to.
Wow. Well, you did it.